Alright, so I thought I'd do some videos about running a gas gun efficiently in a PRS match, what you do, give you some tips and tricks. So on my gas gun, this is a 224 Valkyrie. Um, One thing with it is the chamber flags can be easy to fall out. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a trick there. So if your flag falls out, you could be DQ'd from a match, and that would be really unfortunate. Maybe they give you a warning if you're a new guy. It just depends on the stage. But how I do that is I just have like this Amazon chamber flag that says empty chamber on it. I bought some stretchy cord, and this is a quick disconnect for a sling, and it just keeps it all in there. You just insert it like normal, and you just come around here, push the button, and there you go. It won't come out. So it just keeps you safe, keeps everybody around you feeling safe. And one thing about that is nobody's going to have any worries about you being around. So one thing is you want your gun to be balanced really good. So I added some weights. They're from Gray Ops to this gun. And gas guns are really notorious for being super rear heavy, and they don't like to sit on a bag very level. As you can see here, my gun sits on a bag really good. So I think that's really important because you should be able to just set your rifle down and have it work as it should. You know, there should be no difference in terms of balance between your gas gun and your bolt guns. You know, if you're not stable, you're not going to shoot well. So I'll just take my bipod off here. So I balance my gun so that if it sits on a game changer, this is a medium. It should sit flat and level. So I have it so it can sit with a bipod on it too. It's fairly stable, so as you can see, I can touch it and the gun ain't gonna fall right on the ground. So that's step one. I feel like if you are building your gun, set it on a game changer or whatever bag you're using, and level it out that way. So that was just advice that was given to me, and it seems to work really well. So we're going to leave the chamber flag in and stuff, but we are going to go through what you do with a gasser to get started. So this is going to be geared towards people that have never shot a PRS match before. So this will help take some of the scariness, hopefully, out of starting out new. So when you walk up to a stage, before I get started, before I'm ever to where I'm placing my gun to shoot, I have a checklist that I go through, and it is, you know, for me, I use scope caps, so I make sure my scope caps are open, that my zoom is set to where I want. I usually run somewhere between 18 and 20 depending. I preset my parallax, so this is a Collis, so it's on top, so if the target's at 800 yards, I get it set to where it's about 800 yards. If I have to dial to my first shot, you know, and it's 800 yards, and so I have to dial to, I don't know, 7.6 mils, I'll have that dialed. I'll make sure my send it level is on, so I turn that on. And so that's what I do beforehand. I make sure I have a crush it timer. You can get these from 5x5 Precision or from Chad Heckler. You can find him on Facebook. He's a great gunsmith, AG Cup winner, excellent person. I highly recommend getting it. It actually, for me, is a gas gun. I don't use the side because this thing has attached to it where you can put your dope on there. I don't use that part. I like my wrist set up. So I use it primarily to slow me down. So with a gas gun, you pull the trigger and you can just pull the trigger again, obviously, if it's a stage where you're shooting 2 rounds at a target. And so you can tend to rush things. So I use the timer just to be able to glance at. I just to say, Adam, you got time. Okay, so it just chill out, slow down. It's okay to time out. It's better to hit targets than to run out of ammo hitting nothing. So that is my thought process. So maybe you don't need the crush it timer. Maybe you do. Start yourself with a match, maybe without it. But I'm going to tell you, you're probably not going to run out of time if you're running out of gas, or you're probably going to rush your shots. That's just kind of what my observations have been shooting. So that's what I do first. So open scope caps, make sure my send it level's on, make sure my parallax is set, make sure my dope is set. For me, I don't dial wind, so I just make sure my windage is at 0. But if you dial wind, dial your wind. Everything on my collis is on the left side. I really like collis for that, just because it's all right here. I take one glance real quick. I set my timer, dope, parallax, windage, send it, and there you go. So that's how I start that there. So when you go up to a stage, you have to have everything in your hand. And so they're going to say to you, shooter, do you understand the course of fire? If you don't understand it, it's okay. Ask the questions you have. No, I don't quite understand the stage. I do this, this, and this, correct? If it's right, they're going to say yes. If not, they'll correct you. So there you go. Shooter, prepare your gun, So it varies a little bit on how they might say that, but that's what that means. Load, make, ready. So that's where you're going to say, I pull my chamber flag, I put that in my mag pouch, I insert my mag. I do not drop anything, or I don't put chamber the rifle. That's not the time for that. So then you're gonna say, shooter ready. They're going to start the timer, and then you're gonna come to drop your gun. So you just put your game changer down. Make sure that your rifle's level. So for me, I'm looking for the green. The gun's level. I take my hand, I set it here just to give it some additional stability. I put all my weight, or all the, wherever I'm touching the gun is going to be with my left hand. That's just to make sure that it's stable. I keep my right, if you're right-handed, right knee up, come barely to touch the rifle. I come down, have the gun natural point of aim. I shouldn't have to touch anything. Do I have wobble? If I do, back up, reposition the gun so it doesn't, come back in down, and then take your shots. After you take your shots, before you move, you yell safe, and it needs to be audibly loud. Then you can pick the gun up. I move it back to my elbow, grab my game changer, move it to the next spot, drop down, reset the gun, natural point of aim. I use my left hand to make sure the gun stays stable. I come back in, here I am, then I can fire. Bang, bang, safe. Again, pull the gun up, lift up your game changer, drop it back down. I'm in my place, get on target. If it's the first time you fired, you drop your hammer, safety off, and there you go. So again, then you would move your gun to safe, tuck it under, move it. If you don't say safe, they're going to call you out on it. You could get DQ'd because they don't know that you put the gun on safe or you didn't. So for me, I safe, put the gun on safe, and then you can start your motions, okay? So that's how that's done properly on a gas gun. Remember, it should be leveled out. So this is how I would run like a PRS barricade or something of that nature. So that's episode 1.